In our first elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Octopus, who turns out to be NBA superstar Dwight Howard. So now, let's reveal my first impression guess. My first impression guess for the Octopus was James Worthy. See, I knew it had to be a basketball player. I was just assuming that it was a much older basketball player when he sang. I just googled tallest NBA basketball players of all time, and James Worthy happened to be one of the first options that popped up, so I just rolled with it. It's cool that Howard got to play Superman on the court and Aquaman's friend on the stage. In our second elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off Mother Nature, who turned out to be actress Vivica A. Fox. And now, let's see who I initially guessed. My first impression guess for Mother Nature was Tiffany Haddish. I was so close with this one since Ken and Jenny guessed her as well. I thought all those episodes I binged of Tuca and Birdie were gonna pay off. Well, looks like they didn't. Needless to say, Vivica really sliced me on this one. For our third elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off Pufferfish, who turned out to be R&B legend Toni Braxton. So now, let's see who I initially guessed. Here we go. My first impression guess for Pufferfish was Heidi Klum. Jesus. I was just super stumped on this one. I had no idea who this could have possibly been. Toni really caught me off guard with this particular costume. I gotta say though, props to her for staying extra safe during this whole performance. See, the show got it wrong. This was the true double unmasking. In our fourth elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Dalmatian, who turned out to be rap superstar Tyga. And now, we open up my first impression guess. Alright. My first impression guess for the Dalmatian was Cam Newton. Oh boy. Yeah, I was dumb enough to guess an actual football player. I guess that's what I get for being too literal. Although I gotta say, Tyga has a very good workout routine. I might have to learn from him. In our fifth elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Baby, who turned out to be actor and comedian Larry the Cable Guy. And now, let's see what my first impression guess was. My first impression guess for the Baby was Russell Crowe. I assumed with the Australian accent and the constantly getting into fights and the action movies, I figured that all the clues had to align to him. Larry even quoted him while he was getting unmasked, like, "Are you not entertained? Like, are you serious?" Ugh. I got played by a goddamn tow truck. This is a low for me. In our sixth elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Cupcake, who turned out to be girl group icon Ruth Pointer. And now it's time to see who I first guessed. Right. Okay. My first impression guess for the Cupcake was RuPaul. Dang. I felt super confident in this one, but looks like I'm out of luck yet again. I bought these to celebrate, but looks like I'm gonna have to cope with my wrong guess now. That's a big defeat right there. In our seventh elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Hamster, who turned out to be comedian and SNL alum Rob Schneider. And now it's time to see who I initially guessed. Alright, here we go. My first impression guess for the Hamster was Jeff Foxworthy. At this point, I should just have a Jeff Foxworthy jar for every time I guess he's a Southern comedian, much like how they have a Jamie Foxx jar. At one point, I did assume that he was Kevin James, but it turns out I guessed the wrong Adam Sandler friend. Like, I am just totally out of luck. Jeez. In our eighth elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Beach Ball, who turned out to be reality TV stars Honey Boo Boo and Mama June. And now it's time to reveal my first impression guess. Okay. Let's see. My first impression guess for the Beach Ball was Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. I figured because the big clue was them having a very public feud, that would have sort of connected to who they were. But it turns out that I was very far off on this particular guess. I guess you could say this guess left me with a very nasty sunburn. In our 9th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Jester, who turned out to be Sex Pistols frontman and rock icon Johnny Rotten. So how about we open up my first impression guess? Alright, let's see. My first impression guess for the Jester was Ricky Gervais. I'm not too knowledgeable when it comes to classic rock, so when I heard the British accent and the word scoundrel, I just kind of rolled with it. Although I gotta say, the Jester costume is probably the best the season had to offer. Like, these guys really outdid themselves. Like, more of this and less of something like the baby. In our 10th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Pepper, who turned out to be British pop star Natasha Bedingfield. Oh, my 2000 sweetheart. And now it's time to open my first impression guess. All right. Let's see. My first impression guess for the Pepper was Dixie D'Amelio. Oh my God. It was the TikTok clue that really threw me off. Like, I just thought of TikTok and boom, Dixie's on the envelope. But damn, the first 2 English singers to appear on the American version, and they got voted off in the same episode. The Brits can't get a win, huh? In our 11th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Mallard, who turned out to be reality TV star Willie Robertson. And now we should open up my first impression guess. All right. Let's see. My first impression guess for the Mallard was Garth Brooks. I simply Googled country singers who are friends with Chris Pratt and just rolled with whatever came up first. I'm not super interested in a show where a family takes care of a bunch of ducks or whatever goes on in the show. In our 12th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Caterpillar, who turned out to be Queer Eye member Bobby Burke. So why don't we open up my first impression guess? Opening up, opening up, opening up. Let's see. My first impression guess for the Caterpillar was Jeff Tinnams. I feel pretty bad about this, but I did sort of Google boy banders who have been to jail and kind of rolled with that one. What stinks was that I actually got close to this one because I assumed it was one of the guys from Queer Eye because they mentioned how they have a very big fascination with Taylors, especially Taylor Swift, who they appeared with in the You Need to Calm Down video. I was on the right track, and then I did a U-turn. Like, what is wrong with me? Jesus. In our 13th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Skunk, who turned out to be R&B superstar Faith Evans. So why don't we open up my first impression guess? Right. My first impression guess for the Skunk was Keisha Cole. I knew it had to be some 2000s R&B singer, I just didn't know which one specifically. And now comes the part where I scream into a pillow because my favorite contestant was voted off. Alright, I'm better now. In our 14th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Banana Split, who turned out to be Broadway star Katharine McPhee and composer David Foster. And now we're gonna open up my first impression guess. Alright. The moment of truth. My first impression guess for the Banana Split was Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. Full disclosure, the Banana Split was one of the contestants that got spoiled for me on Reddit, so I kind of had to write down some random people. This is not exactly authentic. I don't exactly have any ice cream, but I do have a sugary sweet that can help me cope with my wrong guess. A duo elimination calls for a duo snack. In our 15th elimination for Masked Singer Season 6, we voted off the Bull, who turned out to be Broadway star and internet sensation Todrick Hall. And now it's time to open up my first impression guess. Let's see. My first impression guess for the Bull was Leslie Odom Jr. So this was another singer that got spoiled for me because someone on Reddit decided not to use spoiler tags when making their predictions. To put it in words that Todrick would understand, it was absolute bullcrap. Still, I'm very happy for him. Congrats on second place. For Masked Singer Season 6, our champion was Queen of Hearts, who turned out to be folk singer Jewel. And now it's time for my final first impression guess of the season. Rip. Let's see. My first impression guess for the Queen of Hearts was Jessica Simpson. Wow. Given the southern accent and the idea that she was possibly blonde, I just assumed it was Jessica, but I was dead wrong. So let's see, we need a Jamie Foxx jar, a Jeff Foxworthy jar, and a Jessica Simpson jar. I'm starting to notice a trend with J names. Still, congratulations to Jewel, aka the Queen of Hearts. I hope you enjoy that trophy. It's gonna look great on your nightstand. You deserve it. Now that Masked Singer Season 6 is all wrapped up, it's time to look at how many first impression guesses I got right. Wow, we came up empty-handed. I really should have stuck to my gut when I assumed that one of the guys from Queer Eye was the caterpillar. Darn shame. Anyway, here's to better luck next year.